Hi guys, good morning and welcome to Amelia Island TV and another episode of the Deonas Show. Today is Veterans Day, 2019. So I thought we would start today and explain to you where we are. We're right on the corner of 11th and Atlantic, and this is the site of the old American Legion, Post 54. It was a log cabin for those of you who maybe don't remember it or you moved here and you didn't get to see it. Post 54, the American Legion was formed in 1923. Since then, they built a new American Legion on South 3rd Street and they turned this into a Veterans Park, which I'm very happy, very impressed with. And if you haven't visited it, you should try to make an effort to come down here and visit and take a look at it. Veterans Day. Let's talk about it a little bit. On November the 11th, 1918, World War I came to an end. And it was originally called Armistice Day. And then I think in 1953 or 54, Congress changed it to Veterans Day. And you know, when we stop and think about the men and women who leave and they go to serve their country, they know that they're signing a blank check that includes even laying down just giving up their life for their country. What is it that motivates them? What is it that drives them? Why would anyone want to do something like that? Well, I can tell you my story. At age 16, President Kennedy had just got assassinated in November of '63, and I just really wanted to do something, something patriotic, something for my country. And I wasn't the only one. There was a lot of us back then that wanted to do that, but it was a little bit different. We grew up with the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. We grew up with Boy Scouts. We grew up with a love of country. Things that you don't see today. We grew up in God we trust. Today you've got all the, I won't use the term wackos, but today we have those who want to change everything. And personally, I fear for the future. What's going to happen? But I'm very confident too, on the other hand, that we still have patriots among us. And but I can tell you this, I wanted to go into the military. I wanted to go into the Army and I wanted to serve. But I had to wait until I was 17. I went down to the post office upstairs and I saw Rudolph Mills. And he was that's where you went to join the military. And he said, son, you've got to be 17. So on April the 25th, 1964, I turned 17, and on the 28th of April, 1964, I was in Fort Jackson, South Carolina for basic training. Now, I got to tell you something. Basic back then was not like basic today. I had the opportunity to talk to a young man who just got out of basic, and we were sort of comparing notes, and the DIs that we had, they were not like the DIs that are there today. He told me they have special places that if you get too stressed out, you can go and it's like I don't know, a care room or something you can go to. We didn't have any of that. You were just thankful you made it through every day. And it was a machine that was there for one purpose and one purpose only, and that was to make soldiers and make men out of boys. And that's exactly what they did. Then after basic, I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky for tank training. And that's where I fell in love with tanks. I wish I had one today. I would literally drive it all over Fernandina. We started out training in the M48A1 Patton. And it had a 90 millimeter gun on it, 50 caliber, machine gun, 30 caliber. And inside was very cramped. And when you would fire that big gun, and that hot brass would come out onto the floor. And you got to remember, you're in cramped spaces to start with. It didn't take long, and you were just walking on hot brass. And when I say hot, I mean hot. And we were, you know, a lot of it was HEP rounds, high explosive plastics. And then I got transferred to Germany, to the 2nd Cav. And I think every veteran will tell you that their permanent assignment was the very best outfit in the world. Well, I can tell you for certainty, the 2nd Cav is the best outfit in the world. And I enjoyed every second of it. I had a friend, Walter Austin, who was my childhood hero. Now, Walter was a couple of years older than I. People ask me about the uniform. They say, well, you know, what possessed you to go and recreate the uniform and wear it? Well, actually, Walter did. Walter was a career, he made a career out of the Army. And he did, I think, 3 tours in Vietnam. And Walter got tied up into Agent Orange, and I knew it just broke my heart. I mean, the last 4, 5, 6 years of his life was terrible. And I wanted to give him a proper send-off at his funeral. So I recreated the uniform just for Walter. We buried Walter last November. I think it was November. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But not long ago, Walter passed away, and we buried him. I made the urn for his ashes, and I miss him. I think about him quite often, and there's a photograph of he and I together. He was home on leave, and I was home on leave. Then I had a friend, Nikki Katina. Now, Nikki was a very unique individual. Nikki reminds me of the Jim Croce song, Don't Mess with Leroy Brown, Bad, Bad Leroy Brown. That was Nikki. If Nikki liked you, he loved you unconditionally and would do anything in the world for you. If someone messed with you, Nikki was right there to pick it up and put an end to it. Well, Nikki, he too joined the military. He joined the Army, and he ended up in Vietnam. And Nikki is the only Medal of Honor recipient that we have in Nassau County. But his story, if you go to the internet and look it up, his Medal of Honor citation, Nikki was in a platoon, and they came under small arms fire, machine gun fire, and RPG, rocket propelled grenade fire. Their platoon leader got killed. Nikki took over command, made it to the front, and with total disregard for himself, he started firing and went up front. And he got wounded in the leg, went down, his machine gun got hit. He crawled and got another machine gun that was operable, and he continued fighting. He got hit again in the other leg, and Nikki was finally mortally wounded and died. However, his platoon, he was credited with killing nine enemy, and the platoon, although they had losses, their losses was nothing compared to what it would have been if Nikki had not shown heroism and did his thing. I think about Nikki a lot. These were just men that, we were kids. We didn't, we were just kids. And I posted a picture this morning of me in basic training, and then 55 years later, today, and I think, wow, that can't be, but I guess it is. But without our veterans and without the wars that we fought and the wars that we won, where would we be today? Well, everybody, it's real easy to say Oh, thank you for your service because we have, you know, freedom. Well, what is freedom exactly? Freedom is doing exactly what you're doing right now. You were free to go to a store, to purchase a computer, to log on, to look at this episode of Amelia Island TV and the Deonas show. Freedom is also, you have the free will and the freedom now to go to the church of your choice, to worship any way that you choose, or not go to church. It's your choice. It's a freedom. Freedom is nothing but a series of choices that we can make every day. And this is what, if you want to start a business, you're free to do that. Just go do it. It's freedom. These are the things that our veterans, um, that they afford us each and every day. So that's when I say, you know, the only thing I find wrong with Veterans Day, it's only one day a year. It should be 365 days a year because we enjoy our freedoms 24/7, 365. You know, it's always nice when someone says thank you for your service, or you know, maybe a company has a special parking place, you know, reserved for veterans only. But there's still a lot of folks out there who, veterans who are suffering. They're suffering today because of Agent Orange. They're suffering today because of wounds, limbs that were lost, and a lot of mental stress, PTSD. You know, they go to bed with it, they sleep with it, they wake up with it, and it's things that they don't talk about, they don't want to talk about, and but it's real to them. So when you see a veteran, be sure to thank him or her, and just say, you know, thank you for your service. We really appreciate it, and you know, without you, where would we be today, folks? I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Nick Deonas Show on Amelia Island TV today. This is our veteran special for Veterans Day. And we'll have maybe some historical stuff for you next week. Until then, thank you for watching and blessings.